feel afraid? Do you feel weird if you're in minority? By doing the average thing, you can only get average results by definition. Average result in case of judiciary exam is a big nothing. It's under zero. Average result in your college exam is all right. चल जाएगा. College exam में average result चल जाएगा, right? But not here. In judiciary, what is the average? Can you tell me what is the average result in judiciary? Write it zero, nothing. Okay. Yet you are used to doing the average thing. Most of us are used to doing the average thing. What our friends are doing, what our peers are doing, what our seniors did, what most others do. Do you get it that this approach, which has worked so far in your life of doing the average thing, will not work here at all? Do you get it? Are you clear that average thing will not work here? You have to do something different. You have to be in minority. The problem is we don't want the same outcome as everyone else. We want different outcomes. But how can we get different outcome? Either you have to be lucky to do the same thing as others and get different result, which is very unlikely. How many of you think you will simply going to get lucky? Or somebody actually became a judge because they're lucky, right? Do you do this? Too often we convince ourselves that success was just luck, right? Do you say that? It's easy to overestimate the importance of luck on success and underestimate the importance of investing in success every single day. Okay? You think that, oh, that guy got successful because he's lucky. But you don't go and see every day he was fighting, every day he was doing small things that made all the difference. We tell ourselves, how did that guy get through that judiciary exam? He must have won the lottery when he was born. Either he won the lottery, now he got the exact question he studied, or when he was born, he must have had a bigger brain than the rest of us. That's also a lottery, right? If your friend gets it, you may think, oh, that guy is so lucky, man. Why? He's just like me. How did he get it? He's lucky. The truth is less dramatic. The truth is that those people put in 5,000 hours in total studying what needs to be studied, and you did not. Can you accept that? Those people studied for 5,000 hours and you did not. Simple as that. The truth is that one person had a clear roadmap every single day. Every single day they had clear, okay, today I'm going to study this, tomorrow I'm going to study that, day after, 1 month later, exact thing. They're not struggling to find what I need to study today. How many of you have this problem? In the morning you wake up and think, oh, what do I do today? How can I put my day to best use? And you don't know. Does that happen to you? Yeah. And that's a huge problem. You can't crack this exam like this. You need to have a plan. And then you work with clear focus and clarity, and you do that day after day after day. Okay. And you get feedback and you improve. You get feedback, you improve. You find your weakness and you improve every single day. And while the others are occasionally, everyone works hard, right? You have worked hard occasionally, right? You know how to work hard occasionally, right? Once in a month, twice in a month, right? You can do occasional hard work. That's not going to work. Okay. Is it possible to crack the judiciary exam without coaching? Of course, absolutely possible. Okay. Why not possible? Let me ask you another question. Okay. Imagine that you want to play cricket and not be a judge for a moment. Just it's a hypothetical situation. Imagine that you want to play cricket and you want to get into the Ranji team or like Indian national cricket team. Okay. Without coaching. Okay. Yes. Is it possible? Sure. There are cricketers who have got into national cricket team or Ranji team without any coaching. Okay. It is possible. But if you have that ambition, will you go without coaching or will you want to find a good coach? What are you going to do? It is just much easier to achieve what you want to achieve when you have an awesome coach. Do you agree or disagree with this? Can you tell me? I want to see. Do you agree or disagree? Do you know the name of Sachin Tendulkar's coach? What is Sachin Tendulkar's coach? Ramakant Achrekar, right? So you guys know that. So if it is easier to, so even Sachin Tendulkar needed a coach. Sachin Tendulkar is a very talented person, god of cricket, blah, blah, blah. But how come God had a coach? So God has a coach, but you want to crack it on your own. Sure, if it is a compulsion, good enough. Okay. If it is a compulsion, you cannot afford a coach. You simply don't have the money. Sure, there is a way, and you should not wait for a coach. But if you can afford a coach and you can actually get a coach and you're not getting it, then I don't know, are you even serious about your goals? Are you serious in your life? So it is easier to make it with a coach and much harder to do without a coach. What will you do? That is the question. Okay. What is your priority? Many people are forced to study without coaching because they can't afford expensive coaching. And for them, they must one way or the other crack it. They don't have a choice. But if you could easily afford it and you found a good coach, will you go for that or not? Okay. Simple question. It is a question of, there is no doubt that having a coach is better. If you can't afford it, then we'll tell you what to do, even in that scenario, if you genuinely can't afford it. But it is utter stupidity that you can afford a coach and you don't take a coach. Okay. Sure, there are other people, MS Dhoni, people who did not need a coach. They couldn't afford it. But if MS Dhoni could afford a coach, will he decide to train with a coach or not with a coach? What do you think? Okay. The most successful people in any field all play the long game. The long game isn't particularly notable. It doesn't attract a lot of attention. In fact, from the outside, the long game looks boring. The tiny advantages that accrue aren't noticed until success becomes too obvious to ignore. The short game is intermittent. It's as if Sisyphus pushes. The Sisyphus is a mythical character. He pushes a boulder up a hill. पहाड़ में उसको पत्थर को चढ़ाता है, हाफ वे जाके थक जाता है, उसको छोड़ देता है, पत्थर नीचे आ जाता है, अगले दिन फिर से यही करता है. So Sisyphus takes a big rock and then rolls it up the hill, and then it comes down again, and then he picks it up again and goes up, and he keeps doing it all his life. This is the curse of Sisyphus, and most of us human beings are also doing exactly same thing. Okay. The preference list is not up. We have taken it down. You can't use the preference list right now. Okay. This is human condition. The long game allows you to compound results. If you want to avoid the Sisyphus curse, then you have to play long game. There's no option. The longer you play, better the rewards. The long game is the opposite of short game. Playing a long game means paying a small price today to make tomorrow easier. From the outside, the long game looks pretty boring. It looks like this: leaving the party early to make sure you get some sleep. What do the cool people do? They party more, they party harder. Okay. But the person who's playing the long game, what does he do or she do? She leaves the party early to make sure they get enough sleep. So boring. Eating healthy when everyone is eating junk and cool, nice food, tasty food. You are eating for your health, not for your taste. Investing in your relationships every day, so you have a foundation when something happens. There are a lot of questions in the chat. Abhyuday, Harsh, Mayur, Uzair, Bhavna, can you guys please try to answer some of these questions?
I'm answering now.
Okay. Investing in your relationships every day, so you have a foundation when something happens. You can go to those people and ask for help. Going for a walk rather than watching Netflix. Spending less than you make and not use a credit card, and countless other examples. For judiciary prep, here is what long game looks like. When everyone else starts preparation in their 5th year or after graduation, you start as soon as possible. Even in your 1st year or 2nd year, your friends may think you're crazy. Parents may say this is too soon. But why will you not take every advantage that you can get and compound your results over time? Okay. When people are getting distracted with short-term things like class rankings, joining some random societies, doing some debates or moods, you are focused on your long-term career goal and study 3 to 4 hours a day for judiciary exam. That is several years down the line. It's much later, but you're already studying for 3-4 hours a day. Okay, that is what long game looks like. Even if you top in your class or win a moot, it's just a temporary status. What happens if you're topper in your class? What happens if you win a national or international moot? Will people remember this after 5 years? They're going to give you credits. Oh, in 2020, you had won this moot. We still remember you are a hero. Nobody's going to say that, right? But you will get some temporary good feeling. Oh, I won this moot. Very nice. I won this debate. Very nice. Cracking the judiciary is not a temporary status. It's a career. If you crack judiciary exam next year or 2 years or 3 years down the line, it's a career. Your life will change. What should you really focus on? Should you focus on all these small, short-term things? Okay, I want to get 80% instead of 70% in my exam, or should you really focus on your career? What do people really focus on? But people always focus on the short-term thing. Most people, 99% people focus on the short-term immediate thing only. Okay. Ignore peer pressure. Can you ignore peer pressure? To be the boring person who studies while everyone else is enjoying and indulging and watching Netflix and partying. What if you start studying for the judiciary using all the time you watch Netflix? How many hours did you watch Netflix yesterday? How much in the last 1 week? How much in the last 1 month? Or Prime or whatever else that you are watching, right? And spend it on social media. What could happen, right? Instead of spending time on social media and watching Netflix, have you watched Game of Thrones? That's like 50, 60 hours. I don't know how many, more than that. I mean, more than 100 hours, right? What if you studied for 100 hours for judiciary exam? You don't, right? What could happen? Train your mind to focus on one thing over a long period of time. You may feel bored, distracted, tired, emotionally exhausted, but can you keep going no matter what? On any given day, American teenagers, for Indian people in their 20s, but I could find this data. American teenagers, 13 to 18-year-olds, average 9 hours of entertainment media, Netflix or whatever, Disney, Hotstar, whatever, social media, YouTube, excluding time spent for school or for homework. 9 hours a day. How many of you do the same thing, that you actually spend 9 hours a day? Okay. You are probably no different. Imagine using all that time for becoming successful. Can you imagine what is possible? Okay. The long game isn't debatable. Everyone agrees, for example, we should spend less than we make, invest the difference. While you won't become a millionaire overnight by spending less than you earn, you'll never become one if you spend more than you earn. The first step is the hardest. You have to be willing to suffer today in order to not suffer tomorrow. This is why so few people play the long game. How many of you feel that you're suffering today? How many of you feel that you're suffering today? Okay. How are things going to change? Are you ready to do something to make your tomorrow better? Playing the long game can mean this too. If you can get amazing judiciary coaching, but imagine that it will cost you your pocket money every month. Whatever pocket money you're spending, okay, maybe you're spending on Netflix and that money you and bunch of other things, and you are spending on Starbucks coffee or I don't know, on Pani Puri, and you save all that money and you buy a coaching. Okay, will you do that for judiciary, which is really going to help you, right? Will you do it? Okay, we'll make it affordable. Okay, at that much pocket money you can afford it. Will you do it? That is the only question I wanted to think about. Or do you save your pocket money and try to study on your own? What is increasing your chance of success? Do you want to just finish watching the favorite series of yours before you start preparing for judiciary? How many are like this? Oh, I started watching Riverdale or whatever already, and let me finish this and then I will start. Are you looking around for validation from your friends, seniors, before you start your journey? Are you delaying things because you do not know where to start? Okay. Or worse, are you already working super hard, but in the wrong direction? You have no idea where you are going. You are just working hard like crazy. Okay. Please play the long game. People who play the long game win now or later. Even if not now, even if it takes a long time, you are going to win. If you play long game, there's no way you're going to lose. Okay. Simply because most other people are not playing, you have no competition. If you're playing the long game, you have no competition. It's like scoring in empty field. Okay, imagine you're playing football. On the other side, there are no players, just the goalpost. You go and score because nobody's playing long game. Very few people. Okay, do you know people around you who are playing long game? Are the people getting outstanding results? Do you have respect for them? Just think about it for a moment. Are there people who are playing the long game? Okay. Let me tell you a story from my college time. By the time I was in my third year in law college, NUJS, okay, I divided my life in 3 shifts. I was playing the long game. I divided my life in 3 shifts. One was college, included exams, moods, everything. I did just enough to not be counted as a failure, right? So I was playing short game for my college that, okay, I have to at least score enough marks so that I'm in top 10, top 20, whatever. But I don't want to study too much. I don't want to top in my class. I just want to do something, just like, okay, just enough. Okay. I don't want to give all my energy in this place. Okay. Second shift was to make money. I needed to make money because I had to pay my college fee myself. My parents could not support, and my education loan ran out in my third year. So I had to pay my own college fee. Otherwise, I'll be thrown out of college. I did mostly freelance work myself. Okay, so another shift I was taking CLAT classes, creating content for coaching centers, even for UPSC. I created a lot of content, and I was earning 70, 80,000 per month thanks to delegation and building a team over time. So this was my second shift. Can you guess? Even this was not long term. This was also short term. I made money right now and I was earning money right now. But the third shift was trying to build my own business. In fourth year, I registered my LLP. In third year, I started IP Leaders blog. You guys have seen IP Leaders blog? Have anyone here who have seen IP Leaders blog? Right? I registered an LLP in fourth year and I started my IP Leaders blog in my third year. I started going to startup events, started networking. I wanted to build my own $1 million startup when I was already in college, right? Third year, fourth year. But it was the hardest thing. It was a long game. I did not have any easy way. Like you, for now, if you want to crack judiciary exam, it seems like Himalayan task, 5,000 hours, so much to study. How am I going to do all this? I said, same thing. How am I going to build $1 million company? Getting money from working freelance was short term. The hardest thing was to motivate myself to build a blog when nobody read it. I am writing articles, posting, nobody's reading it. Trying to get clients when I was not even a graduate. Trying to build a startup when nobody took us seriously, right? 12 years later, the blog is read by 2 million people. In the last 5 years, we have built 3 businesses that have generated more than 20 crore rupees in revenues. We have an international team of 160 people. Any university around the world looking to launch top-notch legal online courses, look us up and want to collaborate with us. It happened because we played the long game. I want you to play the long game. We are now playing the long game with our judiciary prep courses also. We don't care what other coaching centers do. We are not competing with them. We are trying to build the kind of judiciary coaching that makes most sense for the aspirants. What would be incredibly powerful for them? We have already spent 3 years building it. We spent 3 years building the course, 2 years before we launched it. 2 years we worked on the course, judiciary test prep. Invested over 1 crore rupees in capital to make it the best. We know in 5 years from now, we'll be at the top. So we are happy to give away scholarships now to deserving candidates. We are happy to support your quest for clearing the judiciary for an unlimited number of years without charging anything extra. So what do you want to do? Play the long-term game or short-term game? Okay. So a lot of you have been waiting for the skill training. Now is the time for skill training. Okay. So Abhyuday, take over. You want to know the slide number?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 135. Go to 136.
Okay. Starting now. You can check the script. Hi everyone. Welcome back. So we are going to discuss the most important, literally secret, not talked about skill, which is how to develop your answer writing skills. And we will teach you some simple memory techniques so that you can know how to write answers. Answer writing is the #1 most important part of the judiciary exam. If you do answer writing well, you can crack the mains. Okay, and nobody prepares you for answer writing except for 2 to 6 months. That's the trend usually. Okay, and the mains exam is all about this answer writing. It's the most challenging. And this, if you develop your proficiency in this skill early, then you will have an advantage from an early stage.
And if you practice narrating your answers in the mirror, then you may also have an advantage in the interview stage. Your body language and self-confidence and your memory will both improve. Okay, this is a secret. Now, most candidates are taking 2 to 6 months to prepare for this, just very close to the prelims. Okay, after the syllabus is complete, when they want to start revision, or after prelims result is out, then they want to prepare for answer writing. Okay, but it is too late by then. Your prelims exam is 1 or 2 exams of 2 to 3 hours, depending on the state it is. Okay, but your mains exam is 4 or 5 3-hour papers, heavy duty. Okay, and you have to write long answers in that. So we suggest that you prepare from the beginning for answer writing. Now you can take a screenshot of the different kinds of answers and the marks they come for and the time you have to attempt the answers. Okay. So subjective questions can come for 3, 5, 8, 10, 15, 20 or 25 marks. In a paper that is between 100 or 150 marks. The marks depends from the state to state, but they can divide the questions into any of this breakdown. What is the video problem? I am audible. Video is also there. Okay. So check this. Okay. 3 to 5 marks, 100 to 300 words, 5 minutes. 8 to 15 marks, 350 to 600 words, 10 minutes. 20 to 25 marks, 700 to 1000 words, 15 minutes. That's the maximum time you will be able to give to an answer. Okay. I'm going to move on. Just take a screenshot. I hope you took that. Now I'm going to give you an example of a 25 marks question from Bihar Judicial Service. Then I will show you how to solve answer writing. Okay. What is the approach? Okay. 25 marks is usually the maximum you get. So from Bihar Judicial Service, discuss the provisions of CPC related to ex parte proceedings. Okay, let me pin myself so that you can see me. What remedies are available to every party when the suit is dismissed under Order 9? So this is a very, very long essay type question where you have to start writing, everything you know about the law, and you have to know the order very well, right? And you have to know the sections of CPC. But I'm not going to discuss how to write a 25 marks answer. I'm going to break this down into smaller tasks so that you can do this. But what should your handwriting speed be? Okay, your handwriting speed has to be minimum. Most average people I have seen, they are writing at 20 to 30 words per minute they are writing at. Okay, you need to write minimum of 50 to 60 words. We suggest if you practice enough, you can get even faster. But below 50 to 60 words, you won't have a chance, and you will realize that you are always cutting corners and writing in short, which will harm you. Okay, so below 50 to 60 words doesn't work. Most of you will have a writing speed, if you check, of a slower pace. Okay, and so you have to write at this pace. You have to be able to think also. At the same time, you have to write legibly so that the examiner gives you marks. Okay. Now in Rajasthan and UP, your word limit may be lesser. You know why? Because they are giving you question paper and there's an answer sheet inside the question paper. So you have limited space. So there, if you are attempting in these states, you have to write in a different way so that you manage to write in the white space that is dedicated and given to you. Okay. So in that space, you have to write in small legible matter, and there you have to condense your answer. Followed? Now I'm going to give you example of 2 most important types of subjective question with respect to legal subjects. Okay. Yesterday, if you were there, you would have known, and I think it is today's or yesterday's giveaway was also there, that there are 11 types of questions in prelims and mains exam. The 2 most important ones for mains exam are subjective type standard and subjective type application based. Standard questions are direct. Okay, they will ask you to explain something. Application based questions will be based on a situation. Okay, the other questions in the mains exam are, like judgment writing. So that's a specific type. We'll teach you judgment writing tomorrow. Or there could be drafting, where they ask you to draft a petition, or they could ask you to do a précis or a social legal essay. So each one of these you have to learn based on the format that exists, right? Tomorrow I will give you Yeah, tomorrow I will give you a format to learn judgment writing and a memory technique. Today we will do this for answer writing. All right. So here is an example of the first category of questions, which is direct questions. Okay, what are direct questions? I'm going to give you some example, and they start with these words. Discuss the power of the governor to promulgate ordinances. These are all examples from past year papers. So you see the word you have to know. Comment. A declaration of fundamental rights is meaningless unless there is effective judicial remedy for their enforcement. Comment. Critically evaluate or analyze. This is a rare one, but it's there. Okay, critically examine the inherent power of high courts under section 482 of CRPC regarding quashing of FIRs. One very important thing, critically examine doesn't mean criticize. You have to say what they can do and what they cannot do, but you cannot criticize. Okay, people go on that track a lot of times and lose marks. Fourth, these are just varieties. You don't have to mug it up, but I'm telling you how to recognize a direct question and what is the popular wording that is there. Then I will go to drafting two answers. Okay. Check your internet, guys, please. Enumerate or outline, enumerate the provisions of conspiracy in criminal law. Can you see it's very, very direct, right? Explain or elaborate. Explain and distinguish between contract of indemnity and contract of guarantee. This is a direct type of question. Analyze. Critically analyze the selection of Supreme Court judges in India. Okay. Now I'll give you an example of how to write the answer for a direct question. So let's see this. Explain the essential elements of a decree and also examine the classes or types of decree with illustrations. Now, this is a 8 marks question. It has come from a real judiciary exam. Now, the question for you has to be that, when you see it and when you are unprepared or partly prepared, it's like, oh my God, it's so difficult. There is so much to do. But what you have to think of is what is the structure to follow? And most people are not clear while preparing what is the structure. So you hope that I have studied about decrees. I know a few sections, I know a few provisions. Now I will reproduce it in the examination hall, but I have never practiced or prepared for it. So that is a big problem because you've never practiced it, never prepared it, never structured an answer. So how will you be in the top 0.5% who are going to clear the mains exam? This is the question. It's on screen. The question is on screen, Anjali and Kritika. So I am giving you a memory technique now. What is the memory technique? The keyword is CCAP. Okay, C a cap or whatever. CCAP. Okay. So CCAP goes like this. Sections are explained with examples, case laws, and amendments, if any. And don't forget the purpose. Okay. So can you say it back to me? Sections are explained. It's very literal. Like, how do you explain a statutory provision? Sections are explained with examples. They are explained. So you explain the section, you mention the section number, explain the section, give the example, give the case law, give the amendment. In some cases, you may need to write the purpose. So that's why we've said, don't forget the purpose. The short form is CCAP. Section, explanation, example, case law, amendment, purpose. So if you got this, you can type back to me and say CCAP, right? Yeah. So now, which is the question that we have? The question is this. You have to explain the elements of a decree and examine the classes of decree with illustration. Now, don't try to learn the answer. Okay, try to learn the approach to answer writing so that after the boot camp is over, you can use this to prepare your own answers when you're studying. Okay, if you try to learn the answer, then you will have very little takeaway, which is a one answer, which you will find in the book and case laws and commentary. Okay, that's not the idea. Okay, so in this question, when we were solving it, okay, we identified that, so you have to start with the purpose if it exists. This is a very, very direct question. There's absolutely no requirement of purpose. But if they ask you to critically analyze section 482 of CRPC, which is on inherent powers of the High Court, there you can write the purpose. But here there is no purpose to the section itself, right? No specific purpose. So you can omit the purpose. So purpose I have written NA, not applicable. So once I do NA, after that I move to what? I move to CCAP, section, explain, example, right? So I will go like this. Section 2.2 of CPC defines the term decree. Explained is a judicial determination of the matter in dispute. This is basically the simple explanation. I can use the section of the definition wording. or I can use it in my own words. Okay. Purpose, like section 482 of CRPC has the purpose that, whenever something cannot be done by the lower courts, which is not expressly written in the law, the High Court has the discretion to do that. That is the intention, right? What is the intention of the section which defines the decree? You can say that decree provision puts the intention is that the final adjudication of the matter must happen. Okay, but that is also the definition. So purpose is not there for this. Okay, exact words are not a priority. They understand, unless you are carrying the bare act inside the examination hall. There you can use it and use the words, but don't focus on cramming up. You can see on screen that this is a basic, simple explanation. Then we have written the essentials of a decree. This is also part of explanation. So you have to make sure when you are preparing your answers that your explanation is full. Okay, it should not be incomplete. The code recognizes the following classes of decrees: preliminary, final, partly preliminary, partly final. Okay, preliminary decree, then this is all explanation. But when you are explaining, you have to be smart enough to write where the answer can go, because the question said explain the categories of decree with examples. Okay, so your preliminary decree is given, explanation is here. Now somebody who doesn't know the concept well, where will they struggle? They will struggle to write example. Okay, so we've made sure that each category has an example. So it's given here. It's passed in suits such as suits for possession and mean profits, dissolution of partnership, accounts between principal and agent. So you have to find, when you're preparing the answer, that where can I take example from? Always you can write the answer in your own words. Final decree, we are back to explanation. Okay, we are completing our explanation. Now we've again explained what the final decree example is. So explanation again. One more category, partly preliminary and partly final also exists if you have studied the CPC properly. Again, if we are saying this is a category, we must give example to get maximum marks possible. So we have given example below. See point A, point B. Court decrees possession of property, or court directs an inquiry into mean profits. At that time, it may be partly preliminary and partly final. Then we are back to explanation. Then we are talking about a concept called deemed decree. Okay. In the deemed decree, we explain it, and then we say what is the example. Rejection of plaint under order 7, rule 11, restitution under section 144. These are examples. Now our section explanation example is over. Now we are going to cap. Cap is what? Case law and amendment if it exists. So we wrote one case law. You can have more case laws depending on your preparation and your time, but I am giving you one example. Okay. Introduction and conclusion is needed, but here you have to go direct. You have to go very direct. Okay, so you start straight away. Section E for explanation, then example, case law now. Okay, because you have to complete the paper, right? If I sit down repeating the same thing again and again, it will not work, right? So we want to keep it very clear. In example, you can write illustration also. Very good. P stands for purpose if it applies in the situation. Okay. So how many case laws should you know? Every answer which is of some questions will ask you for case laws only. When they are asking you for case laws, at least know 6, 7 case laws. But in this kind of question, if you know 2 cases, 1 case, 3 cases, it helps. Okay, not having any case law, bad idea. At least know 1 case law for every answer, which is of this nature. Okay, citations are not important. Parties' names for the names of the case is important, like Phulchand versus Gopal Lal. That much you have to write, right? And the court name you should know. So you write this for the case law. Now, can I move ahead? I will move ahead now. In A stands for amendment. There was no relevant amendment in this situation. So we are not writing amendment here. Okay. And P, purpose, I told you that P is inapplicable here. Now, what's the point of this? When you write C cap, then you know that every long answer I have to have C cap and I have to prepare like that. Now, I may not have a specific amendment in a particular answer. That's fine. I may not have a purpose in a specific answer. That's fine. But this method enables me to always check that my answer is comprehensive and the best possible, right? Because everybody else also is studying materials. They are working hard. They're giving tests. All those people who are preparing seriously. So how do I distinguish myself? By superior technique. And this is a technique here. Why will you write a synopsis in this answer? It's a direct question. You don't need a synopsis. The whole answer is the answer, right? This is the whole answer I have shown you. You have to be to the point, direct. So I said use CCAP, no synopsis, no introduction, no conclusion. Section, explanation, example, right? Are you following this? Section, explanation, example, C for case law, A for amendment, P for purpose. Year of case law you should know. Ideally you should know the court also. Okay, now I'm giving you one example. This question was asked for about 8 marks, right? Now I'm giving you one example how you have to prepare. Sometimes the same question can be asked for 3 marks or it can be asked for 10 marks. Okay, introduction, conclusion is only going to come when your answer is a problem based answer. I will tell you when to do that. Okay, not right now. Exact section number is important. If you miss the subsection number, okay, fine, that still works, but try to remember the subsection number. Language can be your own. Okay, now look at these two questions and see what is the difference. One is a 3 marks variation and one is a 10 marks variation. Now if you're a candidate studying for RJS and Himachal Pradesh, then you will have to prepare for both variations. Check this. Sometimes a similar question. So for the purpose of section 498 capital A of IPC, what does cruelty mean? 3 marks. Okay, so here what you will do, you can give a short explanation. You can give a couple of, you can say when it was introduced and 2 cases or 3 cases, and that's sufficient. Now check the next one. Discuss section 498 capital A of IPC and the judicial trend to prevent its misuse in the country. Now when you're writing answer to this question, you will need to say how it can be misused and what the courts are saying in different cases to prevent its misuse. And here you can have a synopsis and conclusion. This judgment said this judgment said this judgment said this. Now my synopsis is that these criteria are used by courts to prevent a misuse. Okay, that is where you use a synopsis. Okay, I have answered the same question you are asking. I said you don't have to memorize the Bare Act language. Why are you not following that? What is the difference between the two? Tell me what is the difference between this question on screen and the next question on the screen. Okay, the Rajasthan Judicial Service and the Himachal Pradesh Judicial Service. Okay, what's the difference? One is asking for basic explanation, the other is asking for a specific kind of case law, how to prevent misuse. If you write case laws on what 498A means, it's of no use. But if you write the purpose and then you write the case laws to prevent the misuse, that will work, right? So CCAP can be used in both these cases. Okay, now let's move on. I'm going to give you the next type of question. Okay, so I've explained this. Now one important thing to know, does answer writing pattern differ from state to state? S is section or statute. Okay, some states have a focus on direct or theoretical questions. MP, UP, UK, Uttarakhand, that is Gujarat, Maharashtra, Telangana, Bihar. There you have to use CCAP method. Haryana, Himachal Pradesh have mix of theory and application. Delhi is primarily application based. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about application based questions. There are 22 states. I can't specifically talk about each, but do you understand the approach? You can simply copy my approach, right, and use it for your preparation, right? Can you just copy my approach for your state, right? Now I will explain how to write answers for application based questions. I'm going to take a simple application based questions. Here a different memory technique can be used. Rahul, a boy aged 19 years, allured Geeta of 15 years old on the promise of marrying her. She elopes with him and he had sexual intercourse with her consent on second day of elopement. On the basis of these facts, you have to answer certain questions. This came for 15 to 20 marks in DJS and also in Himachal Pradesh mains, which means that they are also sometimes as a repetition of the same question in another state, right? Did you follow this? Okay, whatever I'm saying, suppose I'm not talking about your state, it still applies to your state because mains has subjective answer writing, syllabus has major subjects which are common, many minor subjects are common. So if I didn't specifically mention your state, it doesn't mean that this is irrelevant. Okay, so now the questions are, what offense has he committed? What would be the offense if he refuses to marry Geeta? What would be the offense if he had sexual intercourse against her consent? What would be the offense if Geeta is 20 years old and she gave her consent for sexual intercourse on the promise of marriage, but he refused to marry her? So there are 4 separate questions, and how many marks it is, it depending on the state, it could be 15 marks or 20 marks. So basically, you are answering it approximately for 5 marks. Each sub question is for 5 marks, right? Eloped means ran away. You have to work on your English, okay? Very important to work on your English. Eloped means run away with a lover, okay? So now I'm going to take part A. What offense has he committed? Okay, and explain how to write that. That will be worth a 5 marks answer. Okay, this will be worth 5 marks. This would be 250 to 300 words will be the 5 marks part. Okay, this part answer A is 250 to 300 words. Okay, we'll explain scenario A. Now, what format, what principle to use? Here you can't use CCAP. You can't use section, explanation, example. You can't use all of that. So what will you use? You will use a different method. This is called IRAC method. Very good. Some of you have identified the offenses. Some of you have got them partly. Some of you have got them fully. So IRAC is issue, rule. Rule means which provision of law. A is analysis and C is conclusion. If the facts are complicated and you want to pull out only the relevant facts, okay, then you can have an introduction before the issue. Otherwise, it is not needed. Okay. So here you can see, 1 second. So now we will go ahead. What are the issues? We have framed 2 issues. We are doing this with respect to IPC. You want to see the facts again? Does this fact require summary? In this question, only the relevant facts are given anyway. So you don't need to summarize this. But if you see the Delhi Judicial Service questions, there one question can be 2 pages. Okay, there you may need to summarize the important facts that you are looking for. Okay. Now I am moving to the explanation. 2 issues we have framed. Whether a minor girl's voluntary elopement with a boy who has attained majority amounts to kidnapping. Whether consensual sexual intercourse of a minor girl with a boy who has attained majority amounts to rape. Okay. If you want to, you can frame issues on POCSO. That is fine. Okay. Now rule. Mention the applicable law and the relevant case laws. What did we just do? This is issue. This is what we'll write as issue. 2 issues are there. Now, what are the applicable laws? There are 3-4 sections. Section 359 states that kidnapping can either be kidnapping from India or from lawful guardianship. Section 361 states that what is kidnapping from lawful guardianship. We've written that. You can write it in your own words. And section 363 prescribes the punishment for kidnapping from lawful guardianship. Section 375(6), this is the one for rape here, says that a man is said to commit rape even if he has intercourse with a woman under 18, even if he gets her consent, it doesn't matter. And then we have added a little information about the amendment that the age limit of the woman was increased from 16 to 18 years. Okay. Follow till here. Issue Singh, if you have doubt, please ask the question. So these are the sections. Now here you are showing your knowledge. In issue, you are showing your knowledge plus understanding plus application of your law to the facts given. In section, you are only showing your knowledge here, right? In the rule part, issue, rule. Now analysis, again, you will start to show your application of mind, right? So issue 1, simple analysis we are doing. Since the girl is a minor who has been enticed from the guardianship of her parents or lawful guardians without her consent, this constitutes the offense of kidnapping and is punishable under section 363. Issue 2, I have to go a little fast. Okay, cannot slow down very much, but don't try to learn my answer. Try to follow the approach. That is most important. Okay. Issue 2, since the girl is under 18 years of age, sexual intercourse with her as per section 375(6) would amount to rape even with her consent because her consent is immaterial. Now what you will do? Now you will say conclusion. You don't understand the second issue. There are 2 issues. One is that she has been taken away from her guardian, and second, they have had sexual intercourse. So there are issues around both these facts, right? Whether her taking away with her consent amounts to kidnapping. Second, whether there is rape in this situation, whether offense of rape has been committed. Okay. Conclusion. Now I have written the analysis here, right? So now I have to give one conclusion which puts together everything. In the current situation, offenses of kidnapping and rape are committed for subquestion A. And you can mention the section punishable under section A, punishable under section 363 and section 375, read with 376. Okay. How many issues can you frame in these questions? So if you see A, B, C, D, there are 4 sub-questions, right? So you can frame 1 to 2 issues in each of them. If you frame too many issues, then you will not be able to finish the paper, right? Do you need to mention any case law in this? Not necessary, because it's black and white. If it's unclear and requires requirement of case law, then you put. Case laws are very, very important in the direct questions that were coming. Okay. So this is called IRAC. I for issue, R for rule, A for analysis, C for conclusion. Can you write IRAC and say it back to me on chat? If any landmark case supports exactly your conclusion, then you can go ahead and mention the case. Okay. So got it. Now few tips that you have to focus always on the quality of the answer and not the length. If you have less time, don't worry about the word limit. Try to mention intelligently the relevant keywords, important keywords like the offense of rape or kidnapping from lawful guardianship, right? That you have to mention if you don't have enough time. But please work on your handwriting, legibility and speed to improve your speed. And one more thing that people never plan. Okay, you must know people in your class who are writing very pretty notes, useful, beautiful notes, easy to read. And I was someone back in college who couldn't read his own notes a lot of times. And I used to need somebody else's notes. I couldn't read my own notes so easily, right? But you have to practice presentation in a very good way, right? Like, so you have to do underlining, capitalization. What formatting can you do? You can't do bold if in handwriting. You can do it on a computer, but underlining you can do capitalization, right? You may need to draw a simple diagram to explain something or a chart in very simple way to differentiate your answer, to save on time. Okay, some people use different colors, but you have to see that if you're using a pen in different colors, you have to keep changing it again and again. It becomes very inconvenient, and sometimes your exam rule doesn't allow it. Okay, so those are just too inconvenient, but underlining, capitalization and basic diagrams can be used by you. Always make an effort to mention recent case laws like Supreme Court or the relevant state high courts case law to get brownie points, especially for direct questions, which I gave you example of. Yeah. Do you need to categorize the answer? I categorized IRAC. You have to do that. CCAP, you don't have to write CCAP because they don't understand CCAP, but issue, rule, analysis, conclusion is a well-known method that they know of. So you can write that way. Okay, I can't use Hindi. There are people who will not follow me if I use Hindi. Okay, Ramanuj, you want to do into the future? So did you follow this? Did you get a sense of answer writing? Because I was really sitting down and figuring out what can be a logical way.
You do it. I'm here, but you do it. You will do it well. Go ahead.
Okay. Because see, answer writing was a big challenge, and I was like, I can't teach you in even half an hour or 3 hours everything about answer writing, but I can give you a couple of methods that you can use so that the most difficult parts of the paper you have an idea of, right? So 1 IRAC per sub question, that's correct. CCAP, somebody can, okay, CCAP is section, explanation, example, case law, amendment, and P for purpose. Now I will move on. Okay, now you have to use this skill. How? You have to use it for preparing. Okay, not just writing. When you're studying and you see a question has come and then you want to prepare your answer, then you use CCAP to prepare your answer. Okay. Yes, Momita. Don't use movies as examples. I'm not sure that'll work. So now I want you to perform an exercise with me. Why? Because you want to visualize if you're preparing on the right track. What are you going to experience? What frame of mind will you be in? What state you will be in? What will be happening around you, right? Ignore now whatever you've not followed. I do not expect you to have followed everything. Okay, we just did it. You just got exposed to it for the first time. Don't worry about it. Okay, so let us imagine your future. I want you to close your eyes, okay, for a while, and just listen to me. Let us imagine your future a few years down the road. Few years meaning couple of years, or whenever your judiciary exam is going to be there. Maybe 1 year from now, maybe 3 years from now if you're giving it after 3 years, maybe 5 years from now or 4 years from now if you're in first year. Okay, so I want you to close your eyes and imagine. Okay, there's a picture which is demonstrating that. Just close your eyes, imagine very clearly, just think. Imagine that you have been transported into the future. Just listen to my voice. Create the images that I'm sharing, okay, and make it as vivid, as clear as possible, okay, so that you can take the action. So now imagine this: you wake up in the morning. First thing that comes to your mind is that today is the day, is the last day of your preparation. Tomorrow is your judiciary exam, the mains exam. Okay, prelims we are not even counting. Tomorrow is your mains exam. And how do you feel? You're not even worried today. In fact, you are feeling positively excited. You feel prepared and ready. You've really done everything you had to do in the past. And today, your plan is not to study, but to focus on your well being, so that you get your sleep, you get your food, you get your rest, so that you show up in tomorrow's exam with peak energy and maximum efficiency. Maybe you'll do a little bit of meditation, a little bit of yoga. Maybe you'll listen to some of your favorite music. You are very confident because you have massive preparation behind you. Like there's nothing you could do today that will take away, or that will add to that. So if you're like, today I'm not going to study, you have revised everything, you've excelled in mock tests, you know all the pitfalls, all the mistakes you could have made, you've provided for them already before. Okay, and you know how to use your time well during the exam. Now you are feeling great because you are so damn well prepared. About 1.5 months back, you had written prelims exam, and while it's very strange, but you enjoyed writing the prelims exam, and you finished the paper with extra time to spare, and you felt very confident after writing it only that you are going to make it. And your hunch was confirmed after 15 days when the result came out. The results came out quickly because it's fully MCQ based question, okay, and it's checked using computers, and you had 1 month left, so you were very confident, and that was confirmed. Okay, then most others, for most other people, it meant that they just had a month to prepare for mains, but you didn't have a month to prepare. You've been preparing for mains for years, and it's been about a year and a half at least. And God bless those people who have just had a month to prepare to finish the massive syllabus. Your time since the prelims has been dedicated not to answer writing preparation, but only to revisions and refining, optimizing the weak points. You don't need to learn anything new at this point. It's already in your head. You're just improving the rough edges. And your preparation was very different from everybody else. They were learning how to write answers for the first time. You were revising and making your answers comprehensive, more accurate. All the last, 95% to 100% fine tuning. And you made a lot of progress here because you've spent years preparing for the mains. Champions are not manufactured before the championship, which is the mains exam. They have been shaped by years of hard work, and that's what you were doing, and you prepared for it. There are 150 vacancies, and 2,000 people are going to give the mains tomorrow. And in general category, only 75 seats are there. Top 5% will make it to interviews from those who sit for the mains. But you don't care because you have done everything that was there, and you've got 5,000 hours of preparation behind you. Very few people have done anything even remotely similar. You feel unstoppable, invincible, excited at the prospect of victory. Your day has arrived. And this is the day you have been working for each of those years. And finally, that's come. This is it. This is what you worked for. You've worked hard to be at the top of your game, and this is going to be your moment. Now you are just going to execute what you have practiced 1,000 times already. Your success is inevitable, and this is where your movie begins. I want you to imagine this day. This is your future. This can be your future. Hold that picture in your mind. Remember that you have to get there. Imagine this picture, please. Okay. Now, let's do a little flashback. Could you imagine this picture? On the day of exam, what happens? Did you find this? Do you want to be in this kind of position? Isn't that the purpose of all? Isn't that the purpose of why you're here in this boot camp? Why you want to be a judge? Like on that day, you got to feel like that, right? Only then it's going to happen. So we want to do a little flashback also. Why? Because you want to have the milestones very clear, that where I'll be 3 months before, 6 months before, right? So I'm going to do that. Where were you 3 months before? Let's see. You have 1 month left for prelims. At this stage, you have shifted your strategy a bit. Okay. So 3 months back, you had 1 month left for prelims. You've not given the prelims, right? There was a time when most of the serious candidates used to crack the prelims, but that's not the case anymore because competition is very high. But you have a strong grasp of the paper pattern of your state's exam, and your preparation for all the subjects is already completed, whether it is local laws, legal subjects, language, GK, all of that you have completed. You are not worrying that you will not remember. Most people are worried that they'll forget last moment what will happen. But you practiced most types of questions for that state many, many times over. And you have a month to revise. And you are doing that with a huge vengeance, like actively, energetically. You're like, I'm going to finish my revision ahead of time. You already know your strengths, your weaknesses, you've improved upon them. And it was easy to do so because you've identified them with the help of your mentor. So there's no risky, if I made a mistake, what's the issue? Because your mentor has taken care of it. And you've repeatedly done mock tests and past year's papers. You carefully track your improvement over time. It's such a great, great feeling when you can see that, yes, I've been making progress, and you can see it on paper. Your marks have improved in the mocks. Okay, your mentor has seen that improvement and confirmed to you. There's no doubt about it. You didn't struggle like your peers to focus on what matters because you had a clear direction. They were struggling, but you were studying and moving ahead. You worked steadily and surely with a clear roadmap. You never were overwhelmed by the enormity, by the huge syllabus, because you knew clearly what needs to be done now. Okay. And you were never feeling that you're not making progress. Whenever you felt unsure, you reached out to a mentor and advisor, and they ensured that you were on the track at every given point. So your headaches went away. If you gave the exam today, there are high chances that you will still crack the prelim exam right away. But you want to fine tune your preparation over the next 30 days until the day of exam. It feels so relaxing, relieving, so good to be over prepared. You're over prepared. Although you are amongst the most likely candidates to crack the exam, now you use this time to create a gap and march ahead of the competition by miles and miles. Your barracks, what do they look like? They're well marked already with what's likely to come based on your past year's paper pattern and study analysis. You know which quizzes to attempt right now to revise, to double check that you will not falter during exam, during your prelims. You attempt more mocks this month because you want to stay in the best form. You want the best practice. You're looking for any vulnerabilities in your preparation, any weaknesses, and you prepare personalized flashcards for last minute revision between the prelims exams. You have already lined up a lot of selected material for revision. You will focus on revision now so that you clear the exam. And even if you get, because if you get one or two questions wrong, it can be the difference between making the prelims or not clearing it, right? So you're going to make sure that no stone is unturned by you. Okay, so that's 3 months before. This is what it's going to look like. How is that? You want to know what it would be 6 months before? 6 months before, what it's going to look like? You have 4 months left for prelims. Most other candidates are going to start feeling the heat at this stage. They're going to go anxious, nervous, join coaching classes in a frenzy. Okay. And the reality of your preparation is clear by now for you. You are very clear. I've made so much progress, is what I know. Some people are today getting serious and starting to study, to realize after a couple of weeks that, oh my God, they are already too late, and then they are giving up. But many of your peers have realized this. Even if they have not officially told their parents or stopped preparing, they have realized this. So you're already now surging ahead of the competition. They have given up in their mind a few months back, only publicly not announced. Others are struggling to just stick to their study plan. They miss many days and one day they come back just for prelims. They have no idea of what lies ahead. Okay, and they'll think of mains afterwards. But you see the difference when you see that my mock marks are so high, this is what their mock marks are. Most people who started with you are by now demotivated. You are feeling even more motivated compared to day one when you started the preparation. How did that happen? How did really that happen? You created a winning study plan from day one. It's not about today. From the day you started studying, and you designed it in a way that it was going to crack the exam. Then you build your routine, your habit, so that you could follow your study plan. You stuck to it. And then where you faltered, you took help from mentors. Okay. And as you kept doing that, you made progress and you felt accomplished and you felt satisfied. Your preparation for all major law subjects, this is 6 months before, right? All the major law subjects from prelims and mains perspective is substantially complete. You've got the conceptual clarity because you've been preparing for almost a year already or more very seriously. You've begun your first round of revision also now for the important subjects. You finished a good chunk of minor subjects. Yesterday we said, no, what are the minor subjects and local laws? You've practiced all past year's papers. You can rattle out from memory simply because you've practiced what questions came in which year from which chapter. Your English, GK, judgment writing preparation is also all on track. Your drafting is quite good by this time. Your static GK is done and dusted. You're still keeping up with current affairs because every day new things happen. But at this time, you're spending more time practicing answer writing and you're improving your answer writing massively with the help of very, very steady feedback. Don't open your eyes, close your eyes. You've done volumes of practice for the prelims and taken 50 mock tests by now, minimum. Your score has improved over time, and every week you have identified your weak areas based on mock tests and improved on that. Sticking to your routine basically as per your plan is what is enabling you to achieve this. You're quite surprised when you look back, this is where I am today and this is where I started from, and you're very happy about it. You're doing monthly calls with a coach who has helped you to stay motivated and stick to your study plan. And you got timely advice on when to shift preparation for mains, when to do something for interview, when to get back to prelims mode. Okay. And you got all that advice in time. Okay. And they told you when you're making progress, when you're not making progress. All this was available because your everyday study plan had those components divided from the first day, so that you are studying on track for mains and for prelims. So you don't feel any anxiety about your preparation, but you feel excitement. And this is where champions are made. Most people who reach this stage now will slow down. At this stage, at your level of confidence, they will slow down and feel satisfied. But you are even more hungry and you're going to speed up now and you will perfect your answer writing 6 months before prelims exam to make sure you're covering every important area and that you can clear the prelims even in your sleep. You will work on essay writing, drafting, pressy writing, all the subjective answers we talked about. You were able to surpass and gain momentum beyond every obstacle where others were stuck. You reached out to mentors, stuck to your targets. Okay. And now you're going to push your preparation to the next level. And because mains is the goal, you're taking mocks for mains now and for prelims 6 months before. Where should you be 1 year before the exam? Are you getting a flavor of what a well-prepared candidate needs to, where he or she needs to be? Close your eyes again. Okay, where should you be 1 year before? This is a very important milestone. 1 year before the exam, you should be at the following place. You have figured out logistics for the next 1 year. What I'm going to do, which exams I'm going to study, how much I'm going to study, where I'm going to be, what's my study plan going to look like, how I'm going to take out time, when I'm going to take break, what books I'm going to need, what coaching I'll need. Everything is set. Okay, how much time you have to study without interruptions. You've told everybody, don't disturb me at this time, I'm working. You've taken care of all distractions. You've got a solid understanding of past year's papers already 1 year before. You've read through the bare acts and textbooks, and you don't have full clarity on everything, but enough to give a college exam any day and you will score very good marks. And you remember how you study before college exams, you read through everything, and that's a basic level of knowledge by reading bare acts and commentaries. Now you have to finish doing that with all your major and minor subjects, which is much bigger than your college syllabus, with at least 1 year to spare. If there's more time, even better. You practice 10 mock papers of prelims and mains both 1 year before. So you have a great deal of self-awareness about where you stand. Mostly people prepare only till this level. But you know that this is only the warm-up. The real work is now going to go ahead. You've practiced answer writing at least 500 descriptive answers and gained confidence by taking line-by-line corrections on your drafts. You've done around 6 practice interview sessions already and you know where your weak areas also are. You've started to spend 1 hour on improving what? Your conversational skills, delivery of answers. Why? For your interview, you're thinking, and clarity of speech. You practice speaking before a mirror to improve your body language and confidence, and you get guidance from your teachers. You are ready now to attempt static GK, current affairs, and the language right away. So 1 year before you're ready for static GK, current affairs, and language, you're not trying to read a mountain of books. Most of your friends are overloaded with study materials and pressurized. They are wasting time reading irrelevant stuff. Now, some are trying to create colorful notes for revision. Soon they will realize that they can't keep up and finish the syllabus. You don't know what to say to them because they won't believe you, right? And now they are confidently running in the wrong direction. You want to stop meeting them because they are already so tense and they are so negative and anxious, right? So you want to spend more time doing actual work, and people share irrelevant content, questions, suggestions with each other. But you are very clear you don't want to get influenced and you will stick to your own plans, very highly motivated. You have a clear understanding of what will be tested on and very proud of the progress. And you can see you're ahead of everybody else, even people who are attending classes in coaching centers, but they have not made any progress in comparison to you. No anxiety, you have no stress. You're not afraid of negative marking or answer writing or facing interview panel as far back as 1 year back, right? No pressure of exam. This is because you have been from day one doing so many tests that it comes like second nature to you. Okay, so any your preferred state judiciary exam formats, you are comfortable to go into exam mode and out of it. You look forward to the exam day 1 year before. You're looking forward to exam day, itching to have your chance. What do other people do at this time? What do other people do at this time? They are still finding coaching, thinking, okay, this book, that book, they get distracted, right? What if you are in the first, second, or third year of this college, of your college? That's great because 1 year before the exam, you got to be in a place where you have covered a substantial portion of the major subjects, language, static GK, all of that, right? So when do you want to start? You want to also take care that your internships are happening, your studies are on track, right? So starting early makes sense, right? It gives you all the security you need, all the confidence you need, keeps you anxiety and stress free. What if you are in your fourth or fifth year? There is no option, guys. Start now. If you're in fourth or fifth year, there's absolutely no reason to delay any further. There any more delay, and every day, it's like 30. Imagine you had to pay 30% tax on your money every day. You have 100 rupees in your wallet, 30 pay today. Tomorrow, pay again 30% of what you have. Day after, again pay. That is the cost you are paying every day you delay from the best systematic preparation possible. Let me tell you the story of Sukriti, who joined us a few months back. Ramanuj, you want to tell this?
Abhyuday, it's going good. You go ahead. I mean, I can say. You want me to say this? Okay, I'll say it. Just you script these things, right? So okay.
272.
I need a breather, I guess. Okay.
272.
To the.
I just need to check one thing. Then
which 272. Okay, 1 second. We have so many slides. Got it. All right. So you guys want to know story of Sukriti, right? I'll tell you. Okay. This is somebody who recently cleared judiciary prelims exam for MP. So who joined us, our course, like just a few months back, and she graduated in 2017. Okay. She has been preparing for multiple state judiciaries for 4 years now. Okay. Not able to crack despite rigorous effort and several attempts for UP, Delhi, and MP judiciary exams. Almost gave up at the time of COVID as family members became critical and she was the single caregiver. Even after joining us, she was giving up. We were not seeing her in classes. Our course anchor called her up to understand why she was not attending classes. Do you guys know of any coaching center where if you don't attend classes, they call you and say, hey, why aren't you coming? I had an idea when I joined a gym once upon a time, and I will not go to the gym. And there was a very caring person. The gym did not have this policy, but I had a coach who was very nice. He used to call me and remind me, why didn't you come into classes? Please come. And then I was not planning to go. When they call me and say that, you gotta come, I used to go because my coach asked me to. So same thing we do we made sure that in our All courses this happens. The counselor tried to understand how to help her in a personalized manner by identifying her pain points. Her single largest pain point, which was bringing her down her confidence, was answer writing. Today, you guys saw how to do answer writing. The course anchor asked her to send one answer per day. We told her that every day you have to write one answer and you share with us. Only one answer, right? It's not a big deal. You can write one answer and send to us, and we will evaluate and give you feedback, one-on-one feedback on that answer. This boosted her confidence and she started working really hard again. Currently, she has cleared MP prelims, MP judiciary prelims exam, and is further working on answer writing skills in the for the mains exam. That's not the point. I'm not telling you the story that okay, she cleared MP prelims. That's not a big deal. By the way, clearing prelims is one of the easiest things. Now, amongst all our students, we see her writing the best written answers. What do you think will happen to her? Like, now she's doing like this. Will she clear the judiciary exam when it is held next? What do you think? Yes, no, maybe. What is your suspicion or what is your feeling? Okay. There is a catch that just writing good answers is not enough. If you're thinking that, oh, now she's writing good answers, so good, so she will clear. Not true. That is not the point. We have created a plan for her. We will share that plan with you later. So you can make your own personalized plan as well. Okay, we'll tell you at the end of the story towards the end. We'll not tell you there's a really happy ending, but I'm not going to tell you that ending. Okay, you just hold on. I'm going to even share a video where she's talking about how LawSico helped her and how she joined, what is actually it's working. I'm going to tell you that, but not now. Okay. Now, Abhyuday, are you doing this? What is the pain faced by candidates who are preparing to
Harsh
attend
is going to
this
share
exam?
his story.
Harsh is there. Harsh, where are you? Come.
I'm here, sir.
You have access to this.
No,
this
sir.
thing, no?
Slide किसी को चलाना पड़ेगा. Somebody has to run the slides.
Okay,
I'll
Abhyuday.
share this. Ramanuj, can you change it? I'll just share it with Harsh.
290. Harsh, you
Sir,
share.
can you? Sir, it will take time, and मेरे laptop में भी
Okay, just run the PPT.
Please, you run the PPT. हाँ.
Okay. Abhyuday, go ahead.
Yeah. 290. What is the number?
290.
Okay. So we wanted you all to have to hear from Harsh Jain himself, who has been preparing and cracked several judiciary exams, has helped 50 students crack judiciary exams personally. Okay, what were the challenges he faced? Harsh, go ahead. Please share your story.
Okay, guys. Hi, this is Harsh. I'm one of the co-founders, and I have personally cracked multiple competitive exams as well. Today, thanks Abhyuday sir and Ramanu sir to give me an opportunity to share my story. Okay, so what do you people think? What are the top pain points of people who have to prepare or crack competitive exams? Next slide, sir. Yes, so this was promised yesterday. That is why I am giving and sharing my story today. So see guys, my story starts at the age of 12, right? When I didn't had support from my dad, he was there, okay? He was alive at that point of time. He has recently expired this May due to COVID, but that time he was alive, right? And I was 12 and he was not supporting my family. And from that early age, I started, right? And I had to sell milk to survive, right? And often we didn't even had food to eat. My mother used to mix water in the milk, right? So that like it is a white colored water,
Just-
let's say. And we used
Yeah,
to
if I
take
was
bread
not
and
selling
eat
that,
it.
he was drinking that. He was not selling that to others. By the way, it sounds very strange, but
Yes. So I was
Sorry,
selling
I've
milk
missed the
also, but
slide.
we used not to drink it ourselves. So what mother used to do it is like, yes, okay. So obviously we never used to sell mix water and sell it. But yes, for us there was no milk left. Then what we used to do is like white colored milk, and that is like eating bread with it or something like that was also a kind of situation which we used to face. Yes. So correct. there were times when we had to pay my school fees. My mother and sister ensured that I am going to best school, and there were times when my fees was falling short by rupees 15, right? So I clearly remember this day when it was there, and I couldn't pay my fees, and somehow we arranged. So yes, somehow my mother and sister managed to get me schooled, right? And they sent me to the best school, right? In Ajmer. Yes, next time. I did not had luxury to ask them to fulfill my wants, right? All my needs and wants they cannot fulfill, right? And as I grew up, so I had to support my mother and sister as well. So I had to continue working alongside my studies, right? It was not only my studies; I had to work as well for my living and studies and all. And all three of us built an agriculture business while pursuing my studies. So we were doing all this as well, side by side. Yes. I took admission in commerce as I was pursuing CA, right? So after 12th, I had no option to go to LLUs or something like that. I couldn't leave my city. So I, like, that was the only professional thing which I can do, right? So I cracked CPT. But then when I saw Three Idiots, I was inspired to pursue my passion, which is law, right? And I shifted to law again. Yes. I enrolled in MDS University Ajmer. It is not a very famous college, but yes, 3-year LLB I started from there. Right, while studying law from second year onwards, I was inspired to be a judge, and I started studying. We didn't had many options back then, so like basically, as most of the students in small cities think, they are like either you have to litigate or you have to go for judiciary exams, right? Nothing else. So usually you have only these kind of exam like options with them. Litigation was unprecedented, sir. That slide was not. So litigation was unpredictable and the future was bleak. So we had nothing to like basically think about. Yes, sir. Next slide. We didn't had much idea about corporate. We only knew that corporate was something that the lawyers in Bombay or Delhi wore suit and did it. IPR and other specializations were unheard of, right? We never heard about IPR, M&A, all these kind of things. I wanted to crack judiciary exam to secure my future. This was my only option. So basically, because I had no other option, it was judiciary at that point of time. I also practiced sharing what I was studying with some of my lecturers who were also attempting the exam. So me and my lecturers were preparing together, and I used to like study with them, and as a group we were doing all this. And teaching was helping me a lot to retain my learning better, right? So that was my way to retain and learn more and more and deliver. Yes. Next. One of my major struggles was that I did not know which book to study, right? So never knew. Like many of you are right now are also asking, right, which book to study? Can you give me a list of books or this or that? That was exactly the same, right? Some people said I have to cram a lot of materials, right? So many people used to say that okay, you have to cram up the things, while other people were confusing me by saying no, you have to stick to conceptual knowledge and not any kind of materials or something. So it was a big confusion. Should I stick to cramming up or should I go for conceptual knowledge and write in my own words and all that? I started studying anyway because obviously I had to start. There was no one to guide me properly. There was no good coaching available in my city as well. So no good coaching, no good guidance, nobody to tell me what to do, what not. If I would prepare an answer, there was no one to check if I had done the right thing. So nobody was again there to evaluate my answers and point out where I have to improve exactly. So this was a huge risk which I would have liked to avoid if possible. I would definitely like to avoid that had I had all the resources, but that was not possible at that time. At that time, Rajasthan judiciary had 47 subjects in the syllabus. So people said that cracking that exam was like almost next to impossible, right? People used to give up, like they never were willing to even like fill the forms of Rajasthan judiciary because of 47 subjects. It is so difficult to handle all this. we did not know about any backup options as well. What if I couldn't crack that exam? That depression, that pressure, that peer pressure, everything, right? So for me, of course, I would continue my farming business, right? For me, it was like that. Okay, if I couldn't crack, I can do my farming business and all, right? But sir, that's life was not. But that was not good enough, right? So obviously, farming might not be good enough option, right? Yes, being a farmer was not even a prestige symbol in our society, right? My mother was like very worried about me, even my sister, so they wanted me to do something, right? They wanted me to be successful, so that like society considers me to be successful, right? Not because I was earning money and doing a lot of things, uh, even being a farmer or like something like that, but for them it was like people will call me a doodh wala person or like milk seller or all that, right? So they never wanted me to have that tag throughout their life, right? And they were also not worried if anyone would be willing to marry me. So that time that was also a big concern for my mother, that who will marry me, right? If I am just a dudwala or like farmer. Yes, I had cracked CACPT exam after class 12. So I had done articleships as well, right? During like, because that was compulsory at that point of time. So immediately after CPT, I had to go to articleships, which are similar to basically internships, what we do in law, right? And obviously some back audits or other kind of audits and something I did, right? And so I had idea of cracking a competitive exam and working consistently in a focused manner. At least that much I should do. My maths and reasoning was already strong, and I was really interested in law. So that was my interest area, right? From the beginning itself, I liked law a lot. I could not deal with conflicting advices, so I decided to study past year papers myself, right? So this is again coming back to the judiciary preparation, because all the conflicting idea and everything were there, right? And people were giving confusing, like let's say advices. I chose to go through past year papers myself and figure out what is it, right? So that is what I called bird's eye view, right? Which is similar to the analytics which we will share today also, like for MP exam. So that I used to call a bird's eye view, and I use it. It took a lot of time basically for me to analyze everything and prepare it, but then it was worth it, because then it helped me to prepare in a very better way, right? And precisely, I wished someone could have guided me like this. Now I have trained judiciary team to create trends analysis based on what I did, right? So that bird eye view is what we call as trends analysis now, and that is what my judiciary team at LawSeco prepares now, right? So yes, I trained them also. People used to cram all the provisions, but based on my understanding, I studied only what was important, because I had this specific bird eye view. I knew that what to prepare and what not, right? So I used to study only that, and I had only 2-3 hours, not like everything. So I cannot study for 8 to 10 hours also, right? I used to study only for that. Others used to focus only on their weaknesses but not on their strengths. So I knew, like, usually everybody will focus only on weaknesses, right? I have to make it better, I have to make it better, and ultimately they don't focus on their strengths. And at the time when they are sitting in the exam, they say, oh shit, I knew this will come in the exam, and had I prepared for it once, right, I would have scored better. So all those kind of situations happen. I used to focus on my strengths first and then on my weaknesses. So yes, I started teaching people also. So I started to learn better myself, and my anxiety started to lessen, right? Because like they were training me regularly, and my revisions were happening. All these things were there. Once in a while, I used to speak to take the help of my sister also, who had, like, by that time she also cracked a judiciary exam, Rajasthan judiciary only. So I used to speak and take time from her, and she used to analyze few of my papers. But she was also busy because she just cracked it, and she never used to get time, that much time to actually train me. It was quite a crazy struggle, and I was taking a huge risk and basically doing a lot of jugaad, right? Because no specific strategy was there, and obviously because I had no other option. But I do not advise it, right? I will not advise you guys to go ahead and like manage only with Jugaad, I had no option. That is why I was doing like this Jugaad system day and night somehow to crack it. Yes. So, fortunately, when the results came out, I had cracked the exam, right? In my first.
You may not crack judiciary exams. What happens then? Can they pursue backups? So you can crack a bunch of other exams too with a little additional preparation. Which are those exams? 6 months SEBI grade A legal officers test. Okay, this is a 6 month course on grade A exam for SEBI legal officers. This time one of our candidates cracked the final stage, several of our candidates cracked the interview stage.
Exam, and it's
7 of
also
them.
the most best paid job. If you become a SEBI grade A officer, you get paid even better than a judge, and you have really amazing opportunities. So this is also very good. Next, Abhijit.
Limited insolvency exam preparation by the IBPI, okay, that costs 15,000. So these are all the new career options for young lawyers for government jobs which are emerging, and we want to help you prepare for that. There aren't people helping out in the way we do for these. Then 6 month training for law clerk come research assistant. If you want to work for the Supreme Court, for a Supreme Court judge as a clerk, then this is the course. It's a very reputed thing to do for becoming, getting LLM, good LLM admissions, and also very good for, getting understanding things so well. If you want to work in disputes, you can grow really fast in a private sector job. People become Supreme Court clerk, judge assistants, and after that, in law firms, they have fantastic progress because they're so smart. 6 month UGC NET JRF preparation program, 25,000 rupees it costs. We are including this for you. Okay. Those of you who want to do LLM in your backup year, okay, you can enroll in the 6 month comprehensive LLM entrance exam package. This covers CLAT PG and all the other important major competitive exams. Backup courses for litigation and law firm jobs. Then this is a 3 month certificate course in advanced criminal litigation and trial advocacy, cost 15,000. 6 month civil litigation course costs 20,000. Okay, you can learn all of the practice related work for litigation. They will help you to start earning money. Then there are some courses which you can use to start earning money by working for 3 to 4 hours a day from home, so that you can attempt the exam multiple times and not have that guilt that you've not found your career path. One is a 12-month diploma in advanced contract drafting, negotiation, and dispute resolution, certified by MEPSC and Skill India. NSDC is, it is under the NSDC of the government. Okay, so it costs 36,600. 2 month introduction to legal drafting, contracts, petitions, opinions, and articles. Okay, this is a 9,000 rupee course where you learn legal drafting and writing articles very well. Then 1 month introductory course on legal writing for blogging, paid internships, knowledge management, research work, all of these kind of jobs which are there. All the remote freelancing jobs are there for law students in this area. And 1 month basic introductory course to practical contract drafting for 3,000. Internship and placement support, freelancing support, all of that is included. Why are we doing this? Because we want to not leave anything until you succeed. No stone unturned, whether judiciary or something else. We want to take ultimate responsibility, right, for your ultimate success. If you do this course, we do not want you to have a career problem ever again. Is it valuable for you? Do you want to be one of the 50 people? All of this could be only for you for 65,000, and you need to book now. You need to only pay 5,000 rupees. How much time do you have to study all these? You will have access to judiciary and other courses as long as you keep taking the exam. No extra charges for second, third, or fourth attempt. And whenever you stop attempting the exam, then we will revoke and close your account in order to avoid misuse. But otherwise, you will have full access. Bonuses are available for 3 years from the time of joining. Okay, now is the big moment, guys. We have told you that if you want, you will have the option to book your seat. You can visit lawseeker.com/offers. I will show you how to do this. Okay, I have explained.
You guys asked to share one more link because too many people visit this page and it can crash. That's why share one more link. Hurry up and do it. Abhijit, continue.
This and
like even there, right? All the list of the different courses.
The list is here. If you want to identify what is there in any course, you can click, but make sure that you book in time. Total value of all courses is 3,96,600, and total offer price is 65,000. This is like 80, 90%
All you have to do is
and
5,000 now, and then you can pay 3,333 per month for 18 months, and we will help you to get a loan from our finance partners for this. Once you pay the 5,000 right now, you will get a call from our team within 24 hours, and they are going to help you to do the further process, okay, of everything else, and they will guide you on what to do, how to do. But right now, you can just book this 5,000 rupees and you can block your this thing. This 5,000 rupee is not refundable as such, because we are giving it to only 50 people. We don't want somebody to book and then back out. But if you do the whole course for 1 month, you register in the course, you pay the balance fee or take the loan, whatever, join the course, and then 1 month later, if you don't like it, you have to attend all the classes and you have to attend all the do all the assignments for 1 month only. After that, if you are not happy, you want refund, we give you 15-day window to get 100% refund. Okay, so that is how it is. For these 50 seats, you have to pay only 65,000 total for unlimited. Even if you're in first year, you can use this for the next 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, we don't care. If you're in your third year, second year, whatever number of years you need, you use it, right? So if you're joining in your first year, you are going to make the best use of it. You are going to get more value than anybody else, right? So you pay only once and use as long as you need, as long as you don't crack your judiciary exam, whatever, you can use it, okay? So I don't think anybody else gives you any such opportunity. No coaching center, nobody in the world, right? We are doing it because we want to create amazing success story. If you join in your first year or second year or third year, we will get long time with you to properly prepare you, okay? Somebody is asking price for PCSJ only. This is the price, okay? We are giving the extra things to you as backup. You don't have to do all the courses. But if you don't crack judiciary, do you want a backup that by chance something goes wrong, I may have to get some job. Okay, I get some other job or another government job using what I already know. That's why we are giving you the extra courses. If you are in first year, go ahead and do it, because you will get massive benefit from this. Somebody who's in fifth year only use it for 2 year, 3 year. If you're in your first year, you will use it for the next 5, 6 years. Can you imagine how much beneficial it is for you, right? And if you are in not in top 50, then we will refund your money, but you will be in top 50. There is, after 50 people have already paid, the page will automatically stop working and we will not take any more money after that. Okay, so there is no problem. So if you are able to pay, go and pay. There is nothing to fear. If you are able to pay, quickly go and pay and don't worry about anything else. And jump in now or regret. Remember what we said before, jump in now. Those of you who want to leave, you can leave. There is some more things we will teach, right, Abhyuday? But if you want to leave, you can leave. There is no problem. We are not holding you here, right? Jump in now or regret.
If
Next,
you are
Abhyuday,
unsatisfied and you have paid the full fee for it, after 1 month, if you comply with the refund policy, this 5,000 will also be refunded. You can choose to pay at one go if you want. That is optional. The EMIs have made it extremely affordable because since we help you with securing internships and paid freelance work, our students earn many times more than EMI amount in a few months only after starting our course. Okay, and this is the refund policy. Those of you who wanted to know, we have already explained what it is, but the link for the website is here. Okay, those who are interested can go ahead and book the seat. If you attend all our classes and do all assignments for 30 days and don't get any value, we will give you 100% refund, including booking amount. But without doing all this work, don't come for refund of only booking amount. That will be a problematic thing. Okay, that then we will not refund. Okay, this offer will never be there again. So please act today.
Okay, so many people are visiting the website. It has crashed again. Okay, so please somebody share we have shared Razorpay link directly. Okay, so Mayur Sachdeva has pasted this link. Please go there and pay. The site has crashed because too many people are trying to pay, and we expect.
Mayur only share Razorpay.
Just share Razorpay directly only right now. Okay, so people just go to this Razorpay link and pay there. Okay, even if your money has been deducted, we will honor your request. Don't worry about this. Don't be afraid. If we have received your money, you will get scholarship. You have my promise here. If your money got deducted, you will get scholarship. Nothing to be afraid. Okay, even if page crashed, don't worry. You don't pay again. If you pay once and your money got deducted, don't pay twice. Okay, just go and pay at this Razorpay link we have shared. It will not crash. Just go and pay here. Okay, we are here. Even if you paid twice by mistake, no problem. You will adjust this with your rest of your fee, right? So don't be afraid of anything. We are here, and you have 1 month anyway. If you attend all classes for 1 month, do all assignment for 1 month, and don't like, you have our guarantee, nothing deducted, so you will get your full money back. Okay, next, Abhyuday, carry on.
Okay. So this is only for people obviously who want to play the long game. Others, you don't need to join and waste the scholarship. Only for people who want to play the long game. After that, our team will call you. They'll help you, connect you the finance partner, all of that to help you pay the balance. Okay. And the course will start in about a week. Okay. But your loan will take 2-3 days to get approved. So once it's approved and dispersed, you receive a call from our onboarding team. They will explain to you the different facilities in the course, how to pace out your bonuses, which courses you want immediate access to. Obviously, judiciary will be there, but with that, what others? Okay, now where can you reach in 3 months? You want to know, if you start studying like this, where can you reach in 3 months? You will feel confident about concepts that you have covered, and you can explain to others as well if required. You will cover at least 3 major subjects, 6 minor subjects. Okay, at this level, and if on your own you're not able to do this right now, those of you who've done this preparation, check. Okay, if you've done it on your own, you may be suffering from preparation diarrhea. It's a very unique disease. You spend all your time talking, discussing, worrying, buying books, begging for notes, and going to coaching classes, but after 3 months you've not even covered 3 subjects and you can answer questions for confidently. And on top of that, what you will start is you can start earning as freelancers some money to make sure that you're financially comfortable. Our team will help you with that. If you're studying only for 3 to 4 hours a day also, okay, you will try to finish at least 3 major subjects, but not 6 minor subjects, but the major subjects you will finish. If this is not happening, you are suffering from preparation diarrhea. If anybody here suffers from that, you will be able to recognize. Some people suffer from a new kind of thing called preparation jaundice. They try to study on their own, and it's a good thing, but instead of covering judiciary syllabus, they are targeting complete mastery. Law is bottomless. The deeper you dive, the more you will find to learn. Our civil procedure course teacher was a retired judge. He said he can study CPC alone for an entire life. Okay, but is it relevant for your preparation for judiciary exam? No. If not, then why are you doing it? Maybe your teacher or parents said studying more is good, but not in this case. You need to cover a huge breadth, but not so deeply. To answer a question of 10 marks, you have only 15 minutes. So how much can you write in 15 minutes? Do you know that? Most people can't write more than 500 words, even at full speed, without stopping to think. If you have to pause to think, you'll probably stoop down to 200 words. This is terrible, okay? With a lot of practice, you have to learn at least how to write 800 words in legible handwriting in 15 minutes. You have to aim and work towards this, okay? 800 to 900 words. And you can reach this with 12 months of practice, that I'm guaranteeing. You can comfortably practice 600 questions in a year with us if you have 2 years. You're free to do it faster if you have less time. We will provide you with all the support. But studying model answers alone, a lot of people just study model answer from somewhere and they think they have prepared. Okay, that will not work unless you can yourself write the answers. Your preparation will be based on trends analysis and insights of past years' papers of those states. That is how we will help you out also. After your daily mocks, you will need to practice subject-wise mocks every month so that you can deal with a large volume of information being tested. And full-length mocks will start in 3 months so that you can have a full feel of it. After 6 months, you are to do this every week. Practice at least 50 mock tests to understand where you have weaknesses for prelims and mains. With weak areas, as you keep finding them, you improve them. As you get feedback on answer writing, your answer writing will become superb. Your knowledge of syllabus also will improve. And you'll do the same method for GK and language. 1 hour each to specifically each of these subjects per day. And people take anywhere between 6 to 12 months to reach a comfortable space with this method. And after that, it's about practice and perfecting your speed and accuracy, improving your weakness. Where do you reach in 12 months? In 12 months, you should basically, you take a screenshot because there were so many points I just wrote in one slide. You'd have covered your major, minor subjects. You would have started with your local language, not finished. Language, everything would be sorted. Okay. I'll move on. Okay?
We can help.
So your weaknesses will be sorted. You won't be anxious. Okay. Bulk of your preparation is over. After this, it's about practice and
look, it's like,
last
I want to tell you something, okay? Yeah. Imagine that you learn how to swim. Is it enough to win a swimming championship? You have to really perfect every stroke. You have to perfect everything you do. You have to be like so good at it, right? Just learning to swimming is not enough. Like, so this is like that. You have learned, people think that, oh, I will study all the bare acts, I will read all textbooks. Now I know CPC, now I know IPC, it is enough. No, it is not enough. You have to write answers and you have to practice perfectly writing those answers. You have to be so good during